Have one new message.
I'm on the phone. Dan and I have to come back here and give us a hand for old time's sake. John, we need your help here now.
The movie opens in a dense, shadowy forest, where a retired Special Forces officer named Daniel finds himself being relentlessly pursued by the Mafia.
That's me.
As the hunters close in, Daniel confronts their formidable leader, Hatcher, who also happens to be a notorious drug cartel boss. Weakened from the intense chase, Daniel struggles to hold his own against Hatcher's exceptional combat skills. Ultimately, he is overpowered and captured.
We'll find out soon enough.
Bound to a chair, stripped of his clothes, and subjected to brutal interrogation at Hatcher's hands. During this harrowing ordeal, Daniel learns that Hatcher once served alongside his father in the Special Forces before turning to a life of crime. Consumed by rage over Daniel's perceived betrayal, Hatcher reveals that he has already killed Daniel's parents, igniting a storm of sorrow and fury within Daniel, who is powerless to retaliate in his injured state. Despite Hatcher's threats and demands for information about Daniel's associates, Daniel remains resolute in his silence. Frustrated and unyielding, Hatcher decides to execute him on the spot. Meanwhile, John Gold, a fellow retired Special Forces operative and lifelong friend of Daniel, receives a voicemail from Daniel's father pleading for urgent help.
Dan and sake. John, we need your help here now.
Alarmed, John quickly prepares to head to Daniel's home in the city of Devotion. Upon arrival, he is met with a gruesome scene. Blood splatters and signs of violence suggest a horrific crime has taken place. Realizing the gravity of the situation, John contacts his former commander to gather intel on what happened to Daniel's family. He then visits the hospital to consult with a forensic doctor about Daniel's fate. The doctor grimly informs him that Daniel died from multiple severe injuries and a fatal stab wound to the neck, discovered by a military team passing through the forest. The following day, John pays his respects at Daniel's parents' grave, vowing to uncover the truth behind their deaths and bring justice to those responsible. During his quiet moment of reflection, he notices a mysterious figure watching him from afar. Later that evening, John heads to a local nightclub in search of answers about Daniel. As he questions patrons about his friend, Hatcher's men catch wind of his inquiries and alert their boss. Before John can gather any useful information, the bar owner ejects him out of fear of escalating tensions. Just as he is about to leave, a woman named Rose approaches him, revealing her acquaintance with Daniel's family through her cafe, hinting at potential leads in his quest for vengeance. She then invited John to visit her cafe if he had any questions about Daniel. "None of you seem willing to speak about Dan Mason or the horrific murders that took place," she remarked. "It appears that no one here can assist you. It might be best for you to move on." Grateful for the advice, John stepped outside the nightclub, only to be confronted by Hatcher's enforcers, Lambert and Marshall. They issued a menacing warning for him to leave town immediately, or risk dire consequences. Unfazed by their threats, John defiantly tossed a cigarette butt at their feet, provoking Lambert and Marshall and nearly igniting a confrontation. However, Hatcher's men opted to retreat, choosing instead to confront him later.
You're in over your head, Devotion, and don't come back.
Moments later, a girl named Sandra approached John, revealing that she and her boyfriend were acquainted with Daniel. She offered to help him in his search for answers. Sandra then led John to her boyfriend Keith's house. Once there, John wasted no time interrogating Keith, but found him lacking in useful information about Daniel's death. Keith admitted he knew Daniel from their days as drug cartel associates, but lamented that in recent months, rival cartels had seized his territory, leaving him unemployed. He explained that the cartel was heavily armed and operated under Hatcher's command. Determined to uncover the truth, John asked Sandra to take him to the site of Keith's former business. In a clever ruse, Sandra pretended to be purchasing supplies for Hatcher's gang in order to gain entry. Before she went inside, John discreetly affixed a listening device to the back of her shirt. Inside the building, Lambert handed Sandra a cell phone and demanded to know where John would be staying that night, while enticing her with a package of heroin. Tempted by the offer, Sandra divulged John's location. Fortunately, John was able to hear their entire exchange through the device he had planted. After Sandra exited the building, she warned John about the dangers posed by Hatcher's cartel, explaining that the nearest police station was far away and advising him to steer clear of trouble. John remained silent and instructed her to leave. That night, Sandra took John to an abandoned shophouse where he could rest. On their way back to her home, she succumbed to the drugs she had just acquired and quickly fell asleep. A few hours later, Sandra's phone rang, jolting her awake. It was Lambert asking for John's whereabouts. In a state of panic, she unwittingly revealed that John was staying at an empty blue shophouse on the outskirts of town. Unbeknownst to her, all her conversations had been intercepted by John. Realizing that Hatcher's gang would soon come after him, he prepared an array of weapons and traps for their arrival. The following day, Hatcher's men surrounded John's location, unaware that he had set deadly traps designed to eliminate them. In the ensuing chaos, only one of Hatcher's men survived, but John swiftly subdued him with a series of precise strikes. Upon discovering that all his men had perished at John's hands, Hatcher grew increasingly wary of his adversary. Hatcher, recognizing that John was no mere pawn to be easily disposed of, promptly instructed his subordinate Lucy to dig into John's background. Meanwhile, John made his way to Rose's cafe, seeking her insight into Daniel's situation. He remarked on how drastically the city had transformed since he last lived there 5 years ago, now overrun with dangerous mafias and ruthless drug cartels. Concerned for Rose's safety, he urged her to leave the city at once. However, Rose explained that she couldn't abandon the cafe, her parents' legacy, and that she had to support herself and her sister. Curious about her connection to Daniel, John inquired further, to which Rose revealed that Daniel had been a regular patron at her cafe. After their conversation, John returned to Hatcher's hideout with Sandra. When Lambert opened the door for them, John swiftly aimed his gun at him, igniting a violent confrontation with Hatcher's men. After decisively defeating them, John chose to spare Lambert's life and demanded answers about Daniel's murder. Lambert cryptically suggested that John should speak to Sandra, revealing her and Keith's involvement in the case. With crucial files and cash in hand, John set fire to the building before departing.
Did what they said to you, I swear. See, please, just stop. It's okay, I did what they said to you, I swear.
Meanwhile, Lucy had gathered extensive information on John, uncovering his past as a former Special Forces operative who had mysteriously vanished 3 years prior. She disclosed that he had been assigned to a mission involving Mason just before his disappearance. This revelation struck Hatcher hard. It became clear that John's actions were driven by a quest for vengeance for Daniel's death rather than military orders. Shortly thereafter, Hatcher received alarming news from Stockwell. John had burned down their drug production facility. Enraged, Marshall was eager to pursue John, but Hatcher cautioned him against acting impulsively, confident that John would seek them out soon enough. Meanwhile, John arrived at Keith's residence and confronted him with a gun, demanding the truth about Daniel's fate. Terrified, Keith confessed that Daniel had uncovered a secret regarding a deal between Hatcher and a Dutch drug cartel and had intended to report Hatcher's activities to military authorities. Fearing exposure, Hatcher had swiftly silenced Daniel. In a desperate bid for favor, Keith had leaked Daniel's plans to Hatcher, hoping for drugs and employment in return. With this revelation weighing heavily on him, John abruptly left Keith behind. As he prepared to free Sandra from the trunk of his car, gunfire erupted from Stockwell's weapon. Without any arms to defend himself, John fled. A tense chase ensued until Stockwell stumbled upon Rose and took her hostage. Seizing the moment, John managed to disarm Stockwell and fought back fiercely. The struggle was intense.
Let's dance.
But with Rose's unexpected assistance, John triumphed over Stockwell. Go. Now. You need to get out of here, he urged Rose urgently. Shortly after the chaos unfolded, the police arrived at the scene, and the enigmatic man who had shadowed John during Daniel's funeral days earlier reappeared. John firmly instructed him to stay out of his affairs for now, suggesting they could address their business at a later time. Back in his hideout, John confronted Sandra, offering her a chance at redemption. He would forgive her if she revealed Hatcher's address. Once she divulged the information, John wasted no time and armed himself before heading straight to Hatcher's residence.
Right then.
Anticipating John's pursuit, Hatcher had fortified his home with additional security. Undeterred, John methodically dispatched Hatcher's men one by one. Showcasing his relentless determination. In the midst of the shootout, Marshall arrogantly tossed aside his weapon, challenging John to a one-on-one duel. Their confrontation was brutal.
He's a bleeder.
But John's exceptional combat skills ultimately led him to triumph over Marshall. Meanwhile, outside Hatcher's estate, Sandra encountered the mysterious man who had crossed paths with John. He extended an invitation for her to enter Hatcher's house. Inside, after eliminating Hatcher's guards, John made his way to confront Hatcher directly. Hatcher proposed a duel without weapons, to which John agreed, placing a knife on the desk between them. The ensuing battle was fierce.
Yes. Loyalty.
Miss?
With Hatcher resorting to underhanded tactics using iron gloves and a rope that nearly cost John his life. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, the mysterious man re-emerged and shot Hatcher dead, saving John in the nick of time. The following day, at Daniel's funeral, Frost, revealed to be a Special Forces agent sent by military command, approached John. He urged John to return to active duty, offering him a brief respite to gather his thoughts. "Walk with me, John," Frost called after him. "It's a tough journey ahead, Dan. You've always been our most valuable asset, we need you back on the front lines." Meanwhile, Rose returned from Daniel's funeral to find a bag of money left by John, accompanied by a note urging her to seek safety in a better place. The film concludes with a poignant scene of John departing the city of devotion alongside Sandra, symbolizing both an escape from their tumultuous pasts and the uncertain promise of new beginnings. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.